get things. All right, so we're going to call this meeting to order, and we're going to go to item 2 on our agenda, roll call and establishing a quorum. Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioner Roeder,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Goldstein,
Present.
and Chairman Zenner Davis.
Here. All right, we now go to item 3 on our agenda, and that is public comments. We allow 15 minutes for public comments. So if anyone has a public comment, go ahead and raise your hand and we will call on you.
I'm gonna be in my office too.
Yeah, take that off. Yeah, I can't just dedicate my time to that.
I just.
And I'm not seeing any hands. Do we have anyone? Okay, so then we will move on to item 4 on the agenda, approval and adoption of the agenda. Commissioners, does anyone have any questions or concerns about the agenda?
I would actually like to discuss the items under number 7 consent. I'd like to pull them all.
Okay.
Different questions on different ones.
Okay, so then we will do that. We'll pull the consent items, item 7 on the agenda for further conversation, discussion. With that, can I get a motion to approve and adopt the agenda?
I motion.
Second. And I agree. All right, item 5, approval of meeting notes. We have 2 sets of notes. We have the first on September 27th, 2023. That was our regular meeting. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about those notes?
I did not,
Or those-
Mr. Chairman.
All right, can I
Neither.
get a motion to approve the meeting notes for September 27th?
I'll motion.
Second.
And I agree. All right. Approval of meeting notes for October 10th, 2023. That was a special meeting. Do we have any questions, concerns with those minutes?
I did not.
None for me either.
All right. So then can I get an approval of the October 10th, 2023 special meeting minutes?
Sure, I'll motion.
Second.
We approve.
And I agree. We will now go to reports, item 6 on the agenda, and we will start off with the union.
Oh, I think I need to.
Hold on, we're waiting to, yeah, we're just waiting to unmute folks.
Okay.
Mildred, hi, you're unmuted.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just wanted to give a quick update of, I know that we all had gone back to certain classifications when dealing with the classification study. Sarah did a wonderful job, and I wanted to acknowledge that. And I wanted to acknowledge the hard work that she did as far as reaching out to those phase 1's classification. And she like literally went above and beyond as far as going to, mailing, going to the school sites to drop them off, but really trying hard to get as much feedback as we can from those classifications that were concerned that they either missed the process in the beginning, they didn't understand the process, it was during a busy time, so they were unable to just be a part of it. And we did get some numbers back, and it was better than I expected. So I do appreciate the fact that those phase 1 people that were concerned that they weren't heard or their voices weren't heard in the process, that Sarah worked diligently in getting that done. So, I like to give acknowledgement when it's due, and Sarah did a really awesome job in supporting us in getting the phase 1 people to work on their phase 1 questionnaires, and just to be able to take back to the consultants whatever concerns and questions that they did have. And I know that we're getting ready to move on to the next phase, and we're working right now with phase 2 employees and questions and concerns and anything that they have. There may be some questions with them asking, or that they just didn't understand and might need to go back. But I just wanted to acknowledge that that's where we are as far as the classification study. And then there were some things with the IAs at Berkeley High, but I think I'll save that for another time. So thank you for that.
All right,
Mm.
thank you, Mildred.
Can I thank Mildred for thanking Sarah?
Absolutely.
That's great, Mildred. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. She works very hard and I appreciate the acknowledgement. She does too.
All right, district reports. Anyone from the district want to give a report?
Oh, she does. Samantha does.
All right, so we're gonna recognize Samantha.
I just wanted to acknowledge that the district agrees with Mildred and feels that things are moving together well in terms of the classification and compensation study. There's nothing else to report at this time.
Thank you, Samantha. All right, so then we will go on to commissioners' report. Commissioners.
Shall I go
Commissioner
first?
Roder?
Okay, thank you. I guess very briefly, what I'd like to point out or comment on is the special meeting that we had on October 10th. I thought that we had a extremely productive meeting. It was dealing with the question of vacancies. And again, since kudos are being sent out, I would also like to commend Sarah and commend Malika from HR and Charlie and Aaron for presenting an excellent report that we were able to use to sort of drill down a little bit on what departments, what sites have vacancies, and hopefully get to some root causes. I also want to thank Mildred, sure, and Frank Hernandez and Samantha Tobias Espinoza, who participated very actively in our meeting and provided a lot of extremely useful information. And again, I think all of us, at least I got the impression that all of us have the same goal, which is basically to understand why the vacancies exist, where they exist, and to see if there are any systemic improvements that we can suggest for that. And I think everyone is working toward a similar goal. And then lastly, our next meeting, we don't have a date for it, but it will be looking into the substitutes, temporary employees who are in some instances taking on the work of those vacancies. And as usual, we would like to see eligibility lists and hopefully, where appropriate, promotions from existing employees into the positions that are available. So I was very heartened by the meeting that we had. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Roder. Heidi, the Commissioner?
Sure. I think Commissioner Roeder spoke for me also when he thanked everyone for their participation in the October 10th special meeting. It was a great preliminary discussion. I think it opened up some other paths of inquiry, and I learned a lot, and always appreciate meetings where I learn a lot. I'm looking forward to the class and comp readout on November 8th. And I don't know, is the public invited to that, or is that a
Yes.
yeah, all right, public is invited. You know, I hope we are able to sort of promulgate that and have folks attend. because it will be important for us to understand, where we sit competitively with our peer school districts, and particularly because budget season is starting, and it'll probably be a tough one. The more informed we are, the better. So I'd encourage everyone to attend. And do we know what time that meeting is? 4:30 here in the conference room. Right. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner or Vice Chair Goldstein. And I'll just pile on. I just thought that October 10th special meeting was an excellent meeting. I think that
happened last year and this year.
didn't get that, but just thought that it was really a just exemplary of all the stakeholders really being involved in that conversation, the diversity of viewpoints that really again helped us really narrow down and drill down on some very specific things. And so yeah, really looking forward to following up with that sub meeting. And so that's it for me. Executive Director, it's on you.
Thank you, Chairperson. So, our exam report, recently quickly amended. We had 204 total exams for last month. 49 training and assessment, 130 written exams, 18 oral exams, and 7 performance exams. I may want to point to you to the page under hiring and promotions because I want to correct 2 items. So there's actually only 1 promotion because 2 of the folks on this list under promotions have recently, one went back to the department that she was at and the other person resigned. So it's really only 1 promotion and 7 new hires, not 3 promotions and 7 new hires.
And who was our promotion?
Ronald Amy, who goes by Dexter, who I had the pleasure of working with on Friday. So as part of my report, Friday, our superintendent asked executive team members to volunteer and assist at Berkeley High. It was rally day. Forgive me if I'm not getting that correct because it went from rally to spirit to other things. But if I don't have it correctly, forgive me. My brain is old, as my daughter likes to say. But it was rally day, and I got to shadow our security officers, which I felt was just a great experience for me. I have been a teacher, but I never had that role in such a large institution. So that was extremely informative for me. I can report back that our classified staff just in general are really tapped in to the student culture, to the students. They know them by first name. Everyone from the IAs to the security officers to our OTs, our occupational therapists. I got to interact a lot with everyone, and I do plan to do it again soon, as long as I'm allowed. But I got to shadow Dexter and Eric and Steve, and I got to learn the literal connection between the second floor between building G, H, and C. I also got to spend some time with Jasmina. Boy, was she just such a great hire. I tell you, she's just great. So it was great to be there too, because so much of the work we do is behind the scenes. So to be on the campus itself was very rewarding for me as well. Our merit rules project continues, but as Commissioner Roeder can report, I've been very busy as of late, so we haven't met in the last couple Fridays. I hope to meet this Friday. But we are moving forward with that. I think the light at the end of the tunnel is becoming closer because we now can see the end of the rule project. So I'm not going to make any promises. I know better than that, but I do think that after the class and comp project is, moving on, I hope to get real speed and start presenting some of the edits to the commission in the spring. So that's what we're hoping for. We are updating our exam procedures, and I think that I've spoken to all three of you about this separately, but we are trying to tighten up our security around our exams. So there'll be more to come on that. This is the delicate balance of providing information without giving away the changes, because then it defeats the purpose of adding the security changes. But I think that in today's day and age, we probably want to be on the technological cusp, if you will, of making sure that our exams are tight and secure. And so there'll be more to come on that. And on Friday, I'm very happy to report that I will be a part of training day again. I did it last year. Last year, you might remember, I did the resume writing. This year, I am doing a supervisor training. And my audience are 21 members and managers who supervise BCCE employees. So I'm doing that on Friday. And on that point, our assistant superintendent of HR, myself, and our friends in BCCE have started talking about possible training curriculum, addressing some of the training needs, some professional development, some conflict resolution. And so I'm looking forward. I hope this is the beginning of my own involvement in some of these projects, and hopefully they get traction and we can kind of start moving that forward. But anyway, on Friday, I'll be doing that. Chairman, should I move on to my class and comp study report?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. BCC asked for 9 classifications from phase 1. They'll be given another opportunity to revise the job descriptions and provide feedback. I don't think the commission needs to be concerned about this extending further. I think we are just, as Mildred Scher had reported, we are really trying to make sure we wrap all of our phases up with giving everyone the opportunity to share their feedback. Hard copies were provided to 182 incumbents and 36 of them responded. And then EHA has promised us that they're going to consider the feedback. The breakdown for that, thank you, Sarah, for writing this down. The breakdown for that was the IA assistant were 3, IA 1 sped were 2, IA 2s were 18, the IA ECE was 1, the ITs were 7, and the clerical assistant 3 were 4, and the storekeeper 1. I don't say this expecting the commissioners to remember, but just to give you a sense of who responded and who did not. We didn't get any responses from the behavioral instructional specialists, nor did we get any responses from the delivery driver, but everyone else responded. Phase 2, our employees and supervisors received draft descriptions with the track changes in a clean copy format so they could review and provide more feedback. 39 incumbents have responded. The supervisor responses were received for 14 of those classifications. And now EHA will consider the feedback and prepare the phase 2 report for your consideration. And this will be presented Vice Chair Goldstein at the November 8th meeting. I think the goal now is to have the PC vote on phase 1 and phase 2 at the November 29th meeting, which is our regular meeting. So that's why the 8th is important, because we hope to have phase 1 and phase 2 at the November 29th meeting. And phase 3, the employee and supervisor interviews, they are underway. EHA will have a draft descriptions ready for the steering committee to review. The steering committee is meeting in early November, which is coming up, followed by the employee and supervisor reviews. The goal is to have EHA present phase 3 report at the December 13th meeting. And phase 4, thank you. There's only one person to look at today. Erin is under the weather, and she's remotely, she's here remotely, but as you all know, I normally look to my left, make sure I didn't miss anything. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Director. Yes, Commissioner Roder.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment regarding the class and comp study, and that is, and it's sort of a little bit of a follow-on to what both Mildred and Samantha reported about sort of the follow-through that Sarah provided with respect to phase 1. And I just want to express my opinion that I understand that there are, contractual limitations with respect to the timelines and things like that. And I understand we have to operate within a schedule, and those things are very important. However, I also think that it's really important to do everything possible. And again, I'm happy that it appears that we're trying to follow up, get as much feedback, as much participation as we possibly can from the employees, because this is our shot at getting it right. And I feel it's more important to get it right. If the schedule has to give way a little bit for one reason or another, I for one will not be upset. Thank you.
Well, just to reassure you, Commissioner Roeder, and the other commissioners, we have gone above and beyond. We are working with the EHA, and Rick Lab is now in charge. He acknowledges that this is going to go into January, and our original contract was for December. So I think we are, I know we are doing everything we can. And to EHA's credit, they are also working with us, and they also realize that. So I think we're in good shape.
All right, thank you both. Commissioners, if you don't mind, I noticed after we moved on from public comments that Mark Joseph had his hand up, and I don't know if we missed it.
Comment on the second.
Okay, cool, great. All right, then let's move forward to the item 7, the consent items. And Vice Chair, you had some questions.
I do. And before I go into questions on that, I should have asked this earlier. When our executive director went over examinations that were administered in the month of September, I noticed that one role had a tremendous number of written examinations, and that was the student admissions specialist role. Can we just hear a little bit about what went on there? Was it a big funnel to start with, or everybody, it's just a lot. That's a lot. I'm surprised by that number.
It is a lot. And as you all know, we haven't used the word a lot and exams for any one recruitment often. But for this particular recruitment, we had a lot of applicants who qualified and met the MQs. So I have Erin here, and she can probably give you more detail, but it's just the fact that we had so many applicants that qualified to take the written exam. That's why you have such a large number.
Okay. All right. I don't know that I need a whole lot more now. The number just stood out.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a number that big.
It doesn't happen often. We did have a lot of applicants for that.
Okay. I'm glad we have a lot of applicants.
Me too.
It's good. So for the consent items, the reason I'm asking that we talk about them one by each, they each have a few different things going on with them. And in light of our last discussion on the 10th about vacancies,
Mhm.
I would like us to be a little more deliberate in our understanding of what is happening with these lists.
Okay.
So maybe we'll see how this one goes and see if this helps me understand some better ways to be deliberate. So if you don't mind, I just kind of want to go, we have 6, so I don't think this will take too terribly long.
Mhm.
But one by each, I would just like to understand a few things about them.
Sure.
All right, so I want to start with family engagement and equity. This had a very long interval between written and oral exam. It looks like 47 days.
Mhm.
So my first question is to try to understand, why that is. Generally, we're much quicker.
Mhm.
And then I notice in this, we have both promotional and open candidates, and we have many ranks. And sometimes I look at lists where, I'm understanding that, we had a lot of folks, but we're only showing the first 3 ranks. And in this one, we show up to 10 ranks. And I am just wondering if someone can clarify for me what the policy is about why, when we show more than 3 ranks and why.
Mm. So, Vice Chair, to answer your first question, it was very challenging to secure the oral exams, which is why there was a 47-day period. One of the ongoing challenges that present themselves for us are those oral panels and getting folks that are not only qualified, but to commit to the time it would take. So that's the delay for the 47.
And we don't pay, right?
No,
It's volunteer,
Yeah.
including people outside the district.
that's correct.
Okay,
It's a barter system or a payback. Like I will do them for them, they do it for us,
Right.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
And your second question, I
my
might need
second is
Aaron-
about the number of ranks, right? Our rules, we typically say we'll present the first 3 ranks,
Right.
but sometimes we present many more. So I'm trying to understand under what circumstances do we do that?
I'm double checking. Can we unmute Aaron, please? Aaron's available. She's more in the weeds on this.
Okay.
Hi Heidi, hi everybody.
Hi.
Sorry I'm not there today. So the situation with this particular recruitment is it relates to that bilingual piece. So we did have promotional candidates, but and we had open candidates as well, but because we had to run the recruitment with the bilingual requirement, we generated basically another list. Even though we had a complete list with more than 3 recs, we had to generate another list to recruit those bilingual candidates.
All right, I see. So this is additive. We have a list, and it's mostly, I guess, the people who are starred, whose eligibility expires early next month. We're from the prior recruitment, sort of in the open recruitment up through rank 5. And then the folks that follow are from the bilingual recruitment.
Well, it just so happened to work out that way because we re-ranked them depending on what their scores were. But it just so happened that the folks in the prior recruitment did score higher, so that's why they were ranked up top. But yes, we have the new candidates that made it to the list from that bilingual recruitment added to this, merged to this list.
All right, and in this, second bilingual recruitment, the ability of bilingual skill was one assessment, but fundamentally the assessment for the role was the same for everybody.
That's correct.
Adding the, yes.
Okay. Please.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So I guess this is for Aaron. Seeing that in the open list, what is it? The first 1, 2, 3, 4, the first 5 names all have stars. next to them. And that eligibility expires, I guess, in about a week or so. How does that work, Aaron? What happens? I mean, sometimes we approve a list kind of retroactively. So sometimes I ask a question like that, and the answer is, well, we've already hired most of these people. So that's one possibility. But if that's not the case, what happens if the hiring manager just kind of doesn't get around to hiring by November 2nd? Do those 5 individuals just fall off the list, or?
That's correct. Unless they've requested an extension and the commission has approved it, then their placement on the eligibility list has expired.
And does, Aaron, does the hiring manager know that that's the case? I mean, it just seems like this is a situation that could lead to sort of inadvertently not hiring somebody that is high up on the list and is available for the job, but just because the period of time is so short that the person doesn't get hired. Or is it the case that these people have been on a list for, well, a year now?
Yes, that's the case, Izzy. They have been on the list for a year.
So basically, if they were going to be hired, they could have been hired for a year.
That's right.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
All righty, let me move on. So for the instructional assistant, next one, this is another one where we've got a tremendous number of ranks that are being shown. And I see now also that we have some bilingual folks, and is that the same explanation
Yes.
as the prior?
Yes.
Okay.
It's rare,
Mm-hmm.
but it was some serendipity here.
You need your mic.
Oh, sorry. It just feels like I'm totally talking to you. It is the same as the last list situation.
Okay, got it. That we did a second recruitment
Yeah.
for people with bilingual skills, otherwise the same recruitment.
Yes.
And this is the way the thing shook out.
Mhm.
Okay. I notice that sometimes, and this list is an example of that, sometimes the 2 dates that are shown represent a written and a performance exam, and sometimes they represent a training and experience examination or screen. So if you look back, for example, at family engagement, you'll see there's a written exam and an oral exam. But if you look at this one, you'll see there's a training experience exam and then a written exam. So do I take this to mean we no longer do, or we have never done a performance exam for IAs?
I don't have the answer to that. Maybe
I can. Sorry. Yeah, so we have never done a performance exam for IAs. We have done written and oral examinations.
Mhm.
And things changed during COVID. And then to streamline some of these open and ongoing recruitments, such as the IA speds, the IT after schools, school campus aides, we started doing what we call our training and experience examination. That really helps to streamline that process and get us eligibility lists quick.
Have we done oral exams for this list, for this job class?
In the past before, yes, we did.
Have we stopped doing that now?
Yes, we have.
And why is that?
Like we mentioned, we really had pressure to streamline the process for these open and ongoing recruitments. Setting up oral exam panels for all of these recruitments where we're trying to get lists generated every month was becoming very challenging and time consuming. So this has really helped us.
Got it. And when did we stop doing oral exams?
Probably sometime during COVID, during the lockdown.
Okay. All right. So this is on me that I didn't notice this.
We did bring an item to a meeting when Philip was interim, and we discussed the training and experience evaluation assessments. And then it would be something we would be using moving forward, and I can look that up and send it to you.
I remember when we implemented the training and experience, I think I didn't appreciate that it was, you know, in exchange for not doing the orals. And I don't know one way or the other. You all might know better if there's been any appreciable difference. If we started this practice during COVID, we've been doing it for 3 years. And, do we not miss it? Do we think there is any more or less longevity in who we hire for these things? Have we collected any data to sort of understand, did it matter?
No, we can. I'll give you a practical reason, which is to get an oral panel is difficult.
Right.
So it begs the question, is this for anything in the IAIT nutrition service, there's certain positions that they're in such high demand. We don't want to delay them further. And, you weigh, if you're screening them with a training experience exam and then the written, is that enough? We've determined that all of those factors, especially trying to expedite these lists, we've made the decision to not have the oral exam. But again.
And I am not impugning this necessarily.
No, I know.
Google does this too.
Yeah.
They hire you based on your credentials,
Right.
and, they don't need to talk to you. What I am wondering, and, this, I think maybe we'll come back in the special meetings, is, what have we learned from this? Have we learned that the oral exams didn't make any difference in terms of longevity with people staying in the role? Or, do we learn something else? And that's a question that would be of interest to me.
Heidi? Sorry.
Go ahead,
I'm
Erin.
so sorry. I just wanted to chime in that we have not had any negative feedback from our hiring managers regarding the quality of the candidates. And then we have to also keep in mind that they still go in and interview with the hiring managers once they're on the list. So they're still having that in-person interview.
Thank you. Good point.
I was going to say the same thing. I would have heard if it was a disaster, believe me, somebody would have told me. And we haven't received that feedback.
Right. No, and that's good. I get that, and that's good. I'm kind of looking at this with a mindset of, competitiveness and retention. One way you retain people is, you are in the higher percentile of offering money, because money speaks. Another way you retain people is by dint of fit, that they like their job, they like who they're working with, they're going to stay, because of those reasons. Which is what I think an oral panel can help you do. And I understand there are trade-offs, right? But that's the question that is sitting in the back of my mind. And that's why I'm just interested. It's good to hear that, there has been, no negative feedback from the managers or nothing appreciable, beyond the norm, with respect to candidate quality. So the last outstanding question in my mind is, we have some data now, I think, in terms of IA hires that we've done, since this practice, since, let's just say June of 2020, for the heck of it. And I wonder if there are any differences in tenure. So, I'm not asking for anything right now, but I'm kind of telling you where I'm headed.
Yeah, and I'm writing it all down. I will say, I'll just reiterate that we only do this for these because they're in such high demand and we need to keep producing the lists. But,
right.
yeah.
And this is why I'm interested, though. Maybe this is a good practice. Maybe we should be doing it for other positions. Which is why I'm interested in the data.
Yeah.
That's a question on this one too.
Commissioner Roeder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question again on the training and experience examination, actually 2 questions. First question is, how does the training and experience examination differ from the screening for minimum qualifications? That's the first question. Second question is the training and experience examination graded on some kind of percentage scale? Or is it basically you've got the training and experience to go forward, or you don't?
It's not very different. It's just a rubric and it's pass or fail for the training and experience.
So again, I'm a little bit confused then. Do we also do, I assume we do, the minimum qualification screening?
We do.
Is it sort of part of the same process?
I don't know, only because I get involved in that. I don't get involved in that step of the exams. But Aaron, Aaron just said yes and yes.
Yes and yes. So the
Yeah.
first yes is that they're sort of a combined process, screen for minimum qualifications and at the same time evaluate training and experience, and then and it's pass fail.
Correct.
Okay. Well, we may, if we dig into this question, I might have some additional questions about how training and experience is evaluated, but I understand for now. Thank you.
Should I move on? Okay, so Nutrition Satellite Services Operator 1. I'll just say I'm relieved to see 3 ranks. Congratulations. That's glad to see that. For the next one, Nutrition Services Assistant, I am just wondering if these dates are flipped. I'm imagining that the training and experience exam would happen first and then the performance exam. Is this just a typo, or did we really invert them?
Aaron, do you have this in front of you?
Yeah, this was a typo.
Okay, all right. So we just need to correct that.
Thank you.
All right. And the question with both of these nutrition services, just so I'm clear, both of them talk about a performance exam. Is that we don't do a written exam, or did we just not put the date of the written exam in here?
We do not do a written exam for these 2 recruitments. We do a performance evaluation instead, where they go to our central kitchen and they actually have to perform duties that pertain to the position.
Got it. So if someone wants to prepare for these positions, how do they prepare?
So they definitely they need a food service card, a food handler's card, and the relevant experience. They really, there is no, when they come in for the exam, they really have to just be able to perform the tasks that are necessary for that classification.
All right. So what I think you're telling me is by getting the credential, the food handler's card, they have been trained elsewhere to do in what this is. That's what we're looking for, because we are only doing a performance exam, right? So just a question for future is, obviously we got our 3 ranks for the satellite operator this time, and, sometimes we don't. And we got only 1 rank for the services assistant, which also requires a food handler's card or some.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it does.
So I guess the question I have here is, have we ever considered, because we're always having trouble filling these, have we considered some kind of, I don't quite know the way to describe it, some kind of program where BUSD supports an individual who needs to get a food handler's card, or some kind of training or something that teaches them the equivalent, so we can start to build our own pipeline for these roles?
I will suggest it to Samantha. I think it's a great suggestion. I don't think we currently do that. I could be wrong, but I don't think we do.
We ran into a similar problem like this. I don't remember how long ago. We have a position that maintains an indoor pool, and we ran into a little bit of turbulence because we couldn't find somebody who had the credential to maintain the pool.
Oh.
So, at that time I learned BUSD typically, does not pay or support an employee
Mm.
who needs a credential. And I think we made an exception in that case because we really needed somebody.
Yeah.
And we found somebody who I guess had everything else except that
Oh,
certification.
boy.
And as an employee, it was our obligation to train them.
Mhm.
You know, and I understand training costs money, but you had mentioned earlier that you are looking to collaborate with, you know, your peers.
Yeah, I do know that the adult school our own adult school does the cards. But yes, I do intend to also collaborate with.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, and this may be a point of collaboration. I don't know if this is something the adult school could do. I have no idea what's involved in getting a food handler's card. I don't know if it's, you know, a 5-hour training or a 50-hour training, right?
Yeah, no, I don't know that, but I do know that I do know that the courses are available at the adult school.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So there may be some things we could better leverage to build a pipeline there.
One other point on that same score. It's possible that we have some positions that do require things like licenses and certificates. But we don't, well, we allow the employee, we do perhaps a provisional hire, and we allow the employee to obtain that license or certificate, say within 30 days or something like that. And of course, those 30 days could be used for the training that you're talking about. So that's just another little addition that maybe if we're looking at the minimum qualifications and we see there's no food handler's certificate, then that person can't go forward at all. But maybe if we specified that if you don't have one right at the time of application, but you've got 30 days or some other period of time to acquire one, and we help with the training, maybe, you know, we would get some more nutrition services people.
I agree.
If it's permitted, you know,
Right.
the ed code may not even permit it, but I don't know.
Just a quick question. This is just for, you know, my own knowledge. Are these not roles that may be looking at trying to recruit from culinary programs, or is it something totally different? It wouldn't be something that someone coming from that background would be interested in.
That's a hard question, only because I don't know. I could see where you're going with it though.
Mhm.
Because this is a real-time meeting. Aaron just texted me that this is there's a 6-hour training course online that can fulfill the food card.
Mhm.
I don't know, Tim, but I could see that. I did sit on a chef exam and got to have 2 different meals prepared. So I should have asked them how they got there, but they have a completely different exam process.
Yeah.
This is a very, very
It's the first level.
first level
Yeah.
kind of, first tier. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I just thought I'd ask because I know that I know that Laney has a really good program. I know Contra Costa College has a really good program. So if students are coming out of that looking for, you know, maybe that would be something, but I don't know.
You know, if it really is a 6-hour online training, there might also be an opportunity in our recruitment
Mhm.
to say, you know, if you know, our recruitment closes, I'm making this up, you know, 4 weeks from now, you know, and you know, here's a resource of online, you know, trainings that you can get. And if you have successfully completed that training, you know, by the time the recruitment is closed, you know, we'll consider your application. You can submit that credential late, basically, you know, something like that. It's a thought. You know, we always need a pipeline for these. So,
Definitely. All great thoughts. Thank you.
so the next one, maintenance engineer. This is another one. Oh,
Mildred?
Go ahead, Mildred.
Thank you. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to get a chance to say I appreciate everything that's being said regarding the training for the culinary career class at the adult school. And I really just wanted, because I work at the adult school, I did wanted to give you a little information, a little feedback, because everything that's being said is doable. The teacher at the adult school who does the culinary career training class, we're actually getting ready to have an up and coming cafe that is being done, and the students are working towards their certificate. So we have computers that are actually set up at the adult school for them to go in and do the training for their certificates and so forth. So I just wanted to give you that information to let you know that it will be great to partner and get those people in, get them to the adult school, allow them to take the class, allow them to have the training there, and just so they can see, because also with that, they get the opportunity to work at the cafe that's at the adult school, and just to, be hands-on, and they get all the training. Like, she's really, really good. So I just really wanted to say thank you for that, and just to let you know that we can definitely make that happen.
That is awesome. Thank you, Miss Mildred. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's good to hear.
I should mention, I might not have mentioned earlier, that we do list the instruction and the information to get that food card on the recruitment.
Mhm.
I know it's not exactly what you were saying, but I just wanted to, I don't know if I said that. I wanted to make
All
sure. I
right,
knew.
no, that's
Yeah.
that's good to know. I'm just thinking, what else can we do here?
Right. No. And I think,
Yeah.
I know that Aaron is more than happy to go back. I know Mildred was kind enough to invite us both, and this time, come heck or high water, I'll be there. But Mildred already invited us last year. I think we'd like to maybe do that again, because I know Aaron went out there like physically to the adult school, and
Yeah.
we can do that again.
Catch the people in that
Correct.
class
Yeah,
and say,
correct.
right,
Exactly.
come apply. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, I think that's right. So the second to last one is the maintenance engineer. I have a feeling this is a different problem. This is one we have only one rank for,
Mhm.
and I'm just interested to understand the story here.
I don't have the whole story. I know that we do have trouble with these types of recruitments. We did have a list of one before with the irrigation specialist, different position, but they're difficult to recruit for. Aaron, I'm going to lean on Aaron on this one, because I was not on the weeds on this one. Very few applicants. And I mentioned the irrigation specialist because, like that,
Mhm.
very few applicants. So if you have 3 applicants and 2 don't meet the MQs, then you have 1, and that's what ends up happening.
I think the reason I'm asking for this one is, I think I am recalling correctly that this was the job class where we have gone back and forth on recruiting for a maintenance engineer
Mm.
versus an electrical or a plumbing or a
Yeah.
particular trade.
There you go.
And, we have a lot of maintenance engineers here,
Mhm.
right?
We do.
So,
Well, a lot. I don't. Yes. Sorry.
we have some number,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we've more than one.
Yeah.
An irrigation
have-
specialist,
do have
we
more than
might only need
I
one.
don't know if we have an irrigation specialist, but we do have maintenance engineers, more than one for sure.
And the question here is, clearly we're competing against the trades,
Yeah.
right? Why would someone come here versus, go get in an apprenticeship program or something else?
Mhm.
And we need to think about, that question, right?
Mhm.
How do we compete against the trades? What's our value proposition, so to speak? You can work in the trades, or you can come work with kids where it's really fun. Whatever that value proposition is. And this role would this have been a phase 1 role for class and comp?
It was in phase 2. Yeah, phase 2.
This was a phase 2 role. All right. This is one I'm going to be looking at. Because I see this, and this is going to be a problem for us going forward. Last one, just so again, I'm clear, school campus aides. This is an entry-level position that we have. And it's also, I don't know, is it a 0.2? Is it even a 0.2 position?
Oh, you mean the FTE?
Yeah.
It varies. We have, how many, do we know how many positions we have? Maybe Aaron knows.
I don't need to know exactly. It's a fractional position, I think is
Yeah.
my point.
But yeah,
And it's a pretty robust list,
Mhm.
with a lot of ranks on it. So for this one, I don't see that we did a bilingual recruitment. So I'm kind of back to my question about 3 ranks versus more ranks. What determines what we see on this list and why?
So Aaron has confirmed that they are 2-hour positions.
Mhm.
To answer your question in regards to, I'm sorry, could you repeat
A
the,
2-hour position is a point, 2
It's
hour
a
a
point,
week is a 0.05.
it's 2 hours a day. What's the FTE?
Oh, 2 hours a day. Okay, so 10 days or 10 hours a
I
week.
think it's
So
10 hours, so
0.25.
that's a point
Okay,
two, yeah.
all right. Mhm. So the question is about, why we sometimes see many ranks versus just a few ranks. And is this because we have many openings or just, how do I understand that?
So the positions, Aaron's saying they're 0.27. Well, one part of it is, and this is just, I'm not bragging about my team, but I will say we're getting better at recruiting. And we also have an economy that's turning. I mean, we're seeing a lot more applicants for our jobs, which is great. I think it's a combination of both those things. In regards to why we have so many, I can only attribute it to probably those 2 factors. And Aaron is going to probably text me more information than that. But I know we have had, and we've expressed this in previous meetings, the exam team led by Aaron has been making very deliberate recruitment for specific ones. And what my team is reporting back to me is that we are getting more applicants just generally. Aaron, please feel free if there's anything you'd like to add to that.
I would just add that in this case, because we, at any given time with the school campus aide position, we have about 15 vacancies, 15 to 20 vacancies, as you saw in that vacancy report we produced. So in this case, we ran a recruitment about 2 months ago, and then we ran a new recruitment just to have a fresh pool so that we could encourage the principals to get interviews made and selections made as soon as possible to fill those vacancies. So we just have a lot of vacancies, and so we have to constantly recruit. And in this case, thankfully, we had a lot of people get on the list.
All right, so this is one of those situations where, because we have lots of vacancies, do we basically show all the ranks of anybody who passed the recruitment? Who passed the exam?
Yeah, we usually have more vacancies than we do ranks.
Okay, then my next question is, when we talk about what this eligibility list is for, it says school campus aide and it says open. And I had understood open to mean a recruitment not for vacancies. When I look at a list and I'm trying to understand, we're recruiting for a vacancy versus we're just recruiting to have a list. I know open is also, open versus promotional.
Yes, it just means open that we don't have promotional candidates on this list. We recruited, for the public.
Right.
And typically there aren't going to be promotional on a list like this because it's such a low range. So we don't have a lot of promotionals.
Okay, makes sense. How do I know when I'm looking at an eligibility list, whether this recruitment is because we have a vacancy or we know a vacancy is coming up versus, we're just trying to get together a better list because we need it for subs, or, we just want to have a warm list? How would I know that looking at these lists?
You probably wouldn't know that by looking at the list, because at any given moment that information will change, whether there's a vacancy or not, especially with those open and ongoing recruitments. When we do post the position, we do indicate when it's posted, we'll indicate if it's for a site to fill a vacancy. If it's just to establish an eligibility list, we'll also mention that it's just to establish a list, which means that there is no vacancy. And that goes out to all the employees. But when you look at the list at this point here, you won't really know. It'll probably, we'll probably need to look at a vacancy report to determine if there are any vacancies as of now.
Okay, so you kind of need two bits of information to do that. All right, I think I get it. And Aaron, I appreciate your explanations. You sound as congested as I feel. So I know talking is an effort. So I appreciate that.
I have one question. Go ahead. And this probably is going to be more appropriate for our next special meeting on vacancies. But just as a preview, it strikes me, I think, as Aaron pointed out, which we all remember, is that school campus aide was one of the classifications that had the most vacancies when we looked at the vacancy report on October 10th. And so here we have a list that has 11 ranks, and some of them are doubles, so it's probably 13, 14 individuals. One would expect that everybody would be hired because there are so many existing vacancies. Now, theoretically, maybe everybody will be hired, and there's, because of churning, and this is a 0.27, so there's probably a lot of churning that goes on. There may be just as many vacancies at the end of the month as there were at the beginning of the month, even though 14 people were hired. But what I'd really like to know is that true? Or are the principals, when they, I mean, it'd be really interesting to track this particular list and understand, okay, it was approved on whatever today is, October 25th. And if we have our special call meeting, whenever it is, what happened to the people on this list? You know, maybe some of them didn't take the job. Did all of them get called? How many got hired? I'd be, really interested in knowing. Or, another option is the principals just sit on the list and don't call anybody. So
I might propose one other factor, which is not all of the candidates want to go to all the sites. They sometimes apply and they have, one school, I want Craigmont. Well, no, we have this. Well, I don't want to go there. I want to go to Craigmont, or, so that happens as well, where they decline and it happens, so we have 15 openings at multiple sites and maybe only 3 of the sites are coveted where the other ones aren't.
I think possibly the other problem, this is always a problem, especially with a low fractional FTE, and it's kind of back to the value proposition. Who is taking this role and why? Is this a parent who wants to be at their particular school site because they want to see what's going on the playground? Which could be a very real thing. Is this, a Cal student who just needs a little extra money and this is a good time for them? Somewhere there is a sweet spot from a recruiting perspective of the right people. A Cal student probably doesn't care where they get assigned, closer to Cal is better, but whatever. A parent, absolutely, right. If I can't be at my kid's school, I don't want to do this. So that, the value proposition, and I'm sure we will talk about this more once we get class and comp readouts and information back, because the degree to which the district has money to put to this, if that's what the class and comp study tells us, that we are not competing well with our peers on, cash compensation. If we are not in a position to compete well on cash compensation, this is totally going to turn into a value proposition. There are other reasons to work at BUSD, and it doesn't have to do with cash. And that's a tougher conversation. But, we're starting to see the positions where we're going to have this.
Well, here's the good news. Aaron and I can track this list. And the next time we have a vacancy report, we can tell you the results of that. So that's the positive. It'll inform this discussion in 2 or 3 months' time.
Right. would you just say, I'm just kind of curious if you have a sense, and if you don't, it's fine.
Mhm.
This idea of, velocity in
Yeah.
a position. It's a year-long position, or, a 10-month position.
It's 10 month,
Let's
yeah.
say that, right?
Mhm.
So velocity is the measure of how many people are in the position
Mm.
in a 10-month period,
Mm.
right? For any given thing. So, we've got 15 schools, and let's say we have 2 of these at every school. So we've got 30 positions that you could look at and understand the velocity, in a 10-month period, and maybe you look at last academic year versus this academic year,
Mhm.
but, August to the end of May,
Mhm.
we had 30 positions, and I'm taking a guess here. We had 60 hires. I think these positions have a velocity of at least 2. And this would be helpful to us also, and we make a business decision, it's a low paid position, it's fractional. We seem to have lots of applicants. We're just going to put up with the churn, but maybe we, the transactions of, doing all the recruiting and stuff make that actually not worth it to us. Maybe we want to bring the velocity down a little bit. So,
I'm taking copious notes.
all right.
I hope to have a more robust report for you that when we do have this
Okay.
discussion again.
Okay. Thank you for indulging me to have discussion on consent items. I don't have any more questions on these.
Excellent. Commissioner Roder?
I don't have any questions, and I'd be ready to move the consent items.
Excellent.
I'll second.
And I agree. Thank you, Chairperson Goldstein. That was, thank you for running us through that, because that was very helpful.
Good, good.
All right, so now we will come to item 8 on our agenda, the conference item, and that is a step advancement request. Secretary, if you will.
Thank you, Chairman. IT is a position that in that field, we talk about a lot. And one of the things that we're competing with is the tech industry and where folks can go and make a lot more money. It's needless to say, it's definitely a recruitment area for us of high need. 2 things excite me about Ms. Kanashiro's background, and that is that she's worked with charter schools, California charter schools, which are different than us, I acknowledge, but they're a little more complicated in that they are not as, dare I say, for bureaucracy, structured. So I believe she's had to think on her feet quite a bit in her career. The data integrity is something that, as we all know, our IT director, Max, has been working on trying to get that data integrity in terms of reporting to try to address that academic gap. And so I wholeheartedly agree that a step for not just recruitment, but retention. We want to be competitive. She is bringing the experience here. And I don't know her in person. Are you Miss Kanashiro? Oh, okay.
There's
I wasn't
someone with
sure
their
if you-
hand up online, but there's a phone number and no name, so I'm not sure.
It might be her. I had heard that she may be coming to the meeting, so whenever the person that I am advocating for is at the meeting, I always like to see if she can speak up. I see Mildred's hand up, but I think.
Yes, I unmuted myself. This is Jennifer.
Okay, hi Jennifer. Did you want to speak on your behalf to the commission?
I mean, I'm excited to start this new chapter. I've been working with charter schools for over 11 years, and so I've seen CalPAD specifically, the state database, evolve, and we have had to evolve with it to keep charter schools up to speed with all the compliance things. And I started on Monday at Berkeley Unified, and I'm already kind of getting my feet wet.
Mhm.
So the years of experience has definitely helped.
Well, we are very happy you're here. So I do recommend and support a step forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners?
I am just wondering if you
Mm-hmm.
can help me remember,
Mhm.
and I don't think, we didn't have the job description with this.
Oh.
Ms. Kennisher's resume was here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the job description wasn't. And CalPads absolutely is a big part of it. And Berkeley is, I don't know, we had Census Day, right? How many students do we have? 9,100, you know, give or take?
Yeah, just under 9,200, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And they all need CalPads records and it
Mhm.
all has to be right. So I know CalPads is a big part.
Mhm.
What else does this position do?
Well, I mean, I just talked about the academic gap. I mean, I know that I've been in some of those meetings with executive cabinet and how, you know, we as a district have kind of set the mold for integration, but there's still the academic gap. I know that data integrity also extends out to the numbers, the enrollment, you know, who's graduating, who isn't. All of this is part of the same programmatic goal for our IT department and our IT director. So that's another aspect of it. I don't know if she's tackled that yet, and I hope I'm not scaring you because that's definitely going to be a part of this role. But
So maybe a example would be, there's CalPads, which has many different dimensions and reports to the
Yeah.
state.
mhm.
And I forget if we use Infinite Campus now or we switch to something else. Is this role responsible for data integrity in those systems as well?
That's my understanding. Yes.
Mhm.
I don't know if we're using. I believe we're still using Infinite Campus, but I know there was. I know there was some talk about not being thrilled with some aspects of it.
Mhm.
So, you know, like all technology, maybe they move on to something else. But I think the data integrity role doesn't change whether the platform changes or not.
So part of the reason I'm interested in this is we always have to report to the state, and the state has plenty of people that I think pester about CalPads and resources if you have trouble. But, you know, even still, you know, at scale, you know, 9,200 students,
Mhm.
you know, with I don't know how many pieces of data, you know, they get reported to the state, you know, that's a lot. The other systems, the reason I'm interested in this is sometimes you do want to get rid of a system, you know, and we have changed a number of systems at
Yeah.
BUSD in a variety of different departments where this role may or may not play a role, but we changed payroll systems, right?
yeah,
We changed
yeah.
from the Alameda County system to Escape.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a role that actually would provide support.
Mhm.
You know, it wouldn't project manage that, but it would be doing work to make sure that what you took out of
Yeah.
one and
Yeah.
put into the next
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
made sense, and you didn't have like a San Francisco Unified kind of problem,
Yeah.
right?
Ms. Kenishiro has her hand up, so I want to give her a chance to respond.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So I just want to add that I do have a background in computer science. And my last job, I helped with troubleshooting student information systems, customizations, and things like that. So I have that database background,
Mhm.
and we are currently using Infinite Campus for your student information system. I believe Illuminate is still being used for your assessment. So I'm already looking into Infinite Campus and getting all that information up to CalPads. I'm not sure if I will be involved in any of the other systems that you spoke about, like payroll, but definitely the student information side. And I believe part of my job description was also to help with submitting attendance to the state, which is something I also did in my previous job.
I
Although
don't.
I do understand that the district attendance is vastly different from charter schools.
I was just going to add, Vice Chair, that I don't believe there's going to be a payroll aspect of it, but I say that with some trepidation because
I just
data integrity
provided
is
as
just.
an example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But data, I know that our data has been, this is why Jennifer is so welcome. Our data has been what has been driving a lot of these board policies and you know, how do we fix?
Mhm.
Well, that's all based on data. And our data points are not always consistent because they're coming from the sites, so that's another aspect of it. So, what I liked about Jennifer's background, again, not just the education, but having worked with Edison, which was a charter school in San Francisco, they are more complicated. So it requires a lot of troubleshooting and coming up with solutions to get to that data and make it usable. I think that's going to help us a great deal at the district. So.
We're gonna have Commissioner Roeder, and then I see Mildred has her hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What I wanted to say was I reviewed Ms. Kanashiro's resume as well as the job description, and I think there's a very, very good fit between the two of them. And I think the background that she brings in computer science, in CalPads, and SIS reporting, and I'll put my audit committee hat on for a minute, because at the last audited financial statement, the auditor pointed out that there had been a mistake. We had switched computer systems, and there had been, this has to do with attendance reporting, there had been a mistake. As you know, when we report to the state, we get supplemental funding for what the state calls, I don't know why they came up with this term, but the state calls unduplicated students, and unduplicated students we call prioritized students. Those who are on free and reduced lunch, those who are on bilingual programs, those individuals who need a little bit more assistance academically, we get more money for them. So we have to track and report to the state. Well, we apparently over-reported to the state by a considerable amount. Initially, the auditor had determined it was about $1 million, and it was subsequently reduced to $500,000. And I personally reported all this to the board last year. And I don't know, we were asking for a dispensation, a waiver from the state to not have to pay them back, but it's conceivable we could have to pay them back. So what I want to say to this commission and also to Ms. Kanashiro is how critically important for many, many reasons her position is, and I'm fully supportive of her step advance request.
Mildred, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to add a little something because I had the opportunity, of course, to review the commission paperwork today, and I hadn't, really looked at Miss Jennifer's, what she brings to the district. I also had the opportunity of meeting her earlier today, and one of the things that set out with me today is when speaking to Miss Jennifer was her smile and her customer service that I felt she was giving, because we were giving, information. She was at the new hire orientation, and she was very pleasant. And one of the things that, Samantha can tell you, one of the things I've really been harping on right now, especially within our district, is the lack of customer service skills that departments bring. And customer service is extremely important to me. So I do appreciate the customer service that I know that Ms. Jennifer brings, and in doing my own investigation into her skill sets and where she's coming from and things that she was doing, as well as having a data integrity specialist at the adult school, and also being the fact that that position has been available for some years now. I just want to let you all know that I completely support, or BCCE completely supports the step 4 for Ms. Jennifer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mildred. All right, any final comments, questions? All right, well then can I have a motion to approve the step advance request to step 4 for Jennifer Kanashiro?
Sure, I'd be glad to move that we approve it at step 4.
I second that.
And I agree. Congratulations, Ms. Kanashiro, and thank you and welcome to the district.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, moving on. Item 9, this is a discussion item and it's an update on the union appointed commissioner.
So, because we have Brown, really, it's a Brown Act thing. I think that this is a discussion we need to have. But it's not a discussion we have to have. I can give you an update. I do know, and again, what I'm talking about is, our chairman's, not being renewed beyond December 1. And I have spoken to BCCE and they are looking at potential candidates. That's the update I have. But I leave it to the commissioners to see if there's anything else we need to discuss on this. I believe I've copied everyone on the documentation and the letter I sent to the union. So again, it's just the discussion on that. If the three of you want to discuss it or discuss it with me or ask questions, that's all I know so far. But that's it. That's the item.
You want to start?
Certainly, I'll start. So what I wanted to say was, number one, that I support and I respect BCCE's absolute right to appoint the commissioner of BCCE's choosing. There's no question, there's no doubt about that. I do want to say that Mr. Zenner Davis has been a fantastic commissioner and now chairman. He and I started as commissioners at about the same time 3 years ago. It was a steep learning curve for us, but I think we've tried to achieve that. I feel that Mr. Zenner Davis has demonstrated sort of the qualities that one would really want to have in a commissioner. He has been extremely diligent. He's been extremely respectful and fair and compassionate in, for us as commissioners. I think we take our responsibility seriously. I think we all understand that we're not dealing with abstract issues as commissioners. We're dealing with employees' livelihoods, their careers, and I feel that Mr. Zenner Davis has been tremendous, and I'm going to miss working with him. Again, understanding and appreciating and respecting BCCE's absolute authority to appoint the commissioner of its choosing. Thank you.
I'll say, me too. It was beautifully and eloquently said. It takes a lot to learn the workings of this commission. And I think our chairperson is about as quick a study as I've ever seen, picking all this up. That said, I think the item that I'm interested in discussing a little bit is December 1st is right around the corner, right? And I don't know if, just process wise, if the union identified somebody tomorrow with respect to communicating with the governing board, confirming the appointment, et cetera, I am concerned that we'll have a vacancy unless we take steps to invoke, and I think both the Ed Code and the merit rules that apply to this, steps so that we ask Chairperson Zenner Davis for a little bit of favor to stay on for some extra time until this gets resolved. So it's, I'll just say, it's something that I think you have written at this point to the union about, sort of explaining how all that works, right? It's something I think we should do, to make sure, that we have all the best brains working on the things that are coming before us. And I really hope it's something you'll consider.
Well, thank you both for those very kind words. And I absolutely want to thank BCCE for giving me this opportunity. And yeah, I will think about, I want to make sure that and there's so much work that we got in the mix. And so, I really do want to make sure that that my role is handed off. And there's no real stall in that work. I just, whoever, comes in after me, I just really hope that they're ready to roll up their sleeves and get knee deep in it, because it's a lot. And so, yeah, we'll have conversations offline. But again, I want to thank all of you. This has been, a great opportunity for me, and there's a lot of personal growth that I got out of this experience. And yeah, again, thank you, BCCE, for giving me this opportunity. And yeah, while I'm still here, I'll keep plugging into the work. So, let's keep it cracking.
Not too proud to beg.
Thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else on that, we are now going to go into closed session, and not sure how long that's going to take. But when we return, we will have a report out of what we discussed.
Mhm.
And then we will go for it with the evening. So
May I mention one detail just for the public who may
Sure.
want to wait?
Sure.
So for the public that is waiting, you'll notice there are 2 items in closed session. I only say that because there are no outlined time limits. I can't predict how long it would take, but I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that there are 2 items to be discussed in closed session.
Welcome back, everyone. We are back from closed session. In closed session, we had 2 items. The first, we discussed the performance evaluation for our executive director. We have our next steps for that, and we'll be proceeding with those. Item 10B was a discussion on the disciplinary appeal. We gave the executive director suggestions for next steps, and he will be working on that. So now we are at item 11 on our agenda, and
12, I think.
or 12, I'm so sorry. We're on item 12. That was item 11, the report from the closed session. Item 12, public comment. We have 15 minutes for public comment. So if you have a public comment, please raise your hand and we will call on you. I believe we have Mark Joseph. You are on.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, thank you. Greetings. As I understand it, the Personnel Commission also takes part in keeping track and monitoring of classifieds in between the hiring and separation processes. Considering some things that happened last year and this year to IAs, a Berkeley.net public chat of case managers and administrators went out on October 13, 2023 at Berkeley High School with false statements, allegations, and denigrating negative comments about Berkeley High School IAs. I believe this is a result of the Berkeley High School special administrators letting IAs know that they are changing the way BHS special ed works at BHS by giving IAs each 4 case Each 4 case manager teachers who have supervisorial duties of passing out new schedules as they see fit, alongside of having BHS sped programmer and another BHS administrator who is listed as special ed programmer, program manager, and program supervisor simultaneously. I witnessed no reflection of this in our BCCE CBA contract and have received no BCCE notification that this change was ratified by the members or pushed through and accepted by our union's executive committee. Can you imagine the confusion with 6 special education staff people acting with supervisorial duties per each IA, while some of these same people in the public Berkeley.net GChat were denigrating IAs, which clearly demonstrates the confusion of some of these case managers as to actual schedules of their IAs. I was told any one of the 4 case managers can give me a schedule. My latest schedule was given to me by hand by one of my 4 special education case managers on August 31st, 2023. That schedule listed no time for email work during the workday, and that same case manager on GChat was mentioned before made the comment that I'm not following my schedule. The very same schedule that same case manager herself gave me. Imagine 4 case managers together coordinating supervisorial duties alongside 2 BHS special ed program managers. Once again, 6 people. Last year, my supervisor didn't know my schedule, even during my evaluation. This year, there's so much confusion about schedules with IAs as evidenced by that previously mentioned public special ed GChat with negative remarks about IAs. I filed a complaint about it. Speaking of complaints, last year, coincidentally, the Berkeley Unified School District superintendent and I both complained to the Title IX compliance officer that the UCF and the DLC, uniform complaint forms and the district level complaint procedures were not correct in several aspects. I put in a complaint about that. Those same forms are still incorrect even this year. Does the public know that BUSD complaint forms are still incorrect? So far this year, I have put in 12 complaints. Last year, I put in several complaints, even one about the district not following its own timelines beyond 60 days. The district and compliance office excused itself about the timelines and excused almost every complaint I put in about administrators. Considering so many excuses made by the district and compliance officer, are instructional assistants concerned even seen as relevant? Last year, I asked for an administrative review from the Berkeley Unified School District classified personnel director, and he admitted in a meeting that he hadn't fully reviewed my rebuttal for my evaluation, which include 3 violations of the BCCE CBA contract, and his response demonstrated such. So I asked for an administrative review from the BUSD superintendent on June 1st, 2023, for which I still have no response, even though I met with her on September 5th, 2023, which was several days after the fall semester began, actually 15. And 3 months after June 1st, 2023. A superintendent timeline? I've heard of several district and contractual IAs leaving the district due to special education supervisor management issues. It's no wonder some IAs have left, and the district is using contract IAs because the district positions can't fill fast enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Any other public comments? Going once, going twice. We are now Mildred.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry. I'm gonna make this quick. I just wanted to make sure that BCCE have the opportunity to thank Tim for our Commissioner Zinger Davis for his service. And we just really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right, so item 13 on our agenda, our next meeting. So we have a special meeting scheduled November 8th, 4:30. Please, save that date if you'd like to attend that meeting. And then, of course, our regular meeting will be on Wednesday, November 29th. Same bat time, same bat channel. If that is all, we are going to go to item 14 of the agenda, and we are in adjournment. Good night, everyone.